This expensive interview question mistake happens every single day. I had a firm ask if I was on the mommy track because they were not going to hire another woman that had obligations like picking up kids from school. I'm worried about backlash if I share the name, but it was a small but well-known boutique law firm in Boston. You people keep me employed. Hey, my name is Alex Castro. I'm a labor and employment attorney with AXC Legal based out of South Florida. Everything that we're going to talk about today, it's not legal advice. If this is a situation that sounds familiar to you or that you need help with, make sure you consult a qualified attorney to talk about your specific situation before taking action. That's a very, very common, stereotypical, discriminatory question asked in job interviews. Lots of companies are very concerned about a woman's ability to be able to respond to emergencies, not have to be distracted with these apparently god-awful mommy duties that they have to do at home. God forbid somebody need to have a family. And so in interviews, they think that they can get ahead of the problem by asking somebody, well, what are your childcare plans? Or, is your career plan to gain some experience for a couple of years and then have a family and then have to tone down or cut back some of your work, all that sort of stuff. The business concern behind it, I guess, is legitimate enough, right? They basically want to make sure that somebody can actually be available to do the job. And while we generally like that idea, they're going a little bit too far here because they're teetering, not even teetering, they're actually just going full semi-auto truck, 18-wheeler straight first into like discrimination. But commonly protected classes under employment laws are familial status, pregnancy, family planning, sex, gender, all that sort of stuff. And when you ask questions like this, you're pretty much hitting on all of them all at once. Because you're kind of making this assumption that a woman might want to have kids and that therefore they are going to be conflicted with their job. Your underlying concern there is somebody going to be available for the job, but instead of just asking that, you're asking all these other questions that are just going to get you sued instead. When you want to vet out a candidate and their ability to be available for the job, focus on exactly that. If your underlying concern is, are you going to be available for the job? Just ask that. Hey, do you have any commitments that, might make it difficult for you to log back online on a dime, to, be generally available? Or do you anticipate that you're going to have some, hard shutoff times? Maybe at 4 p.m. After that, you won't be available anymore. Whatever the situation may be, you can ask these questions in a so much more neutral way that, one, is not sexist and is not discriminatory on various other categories. If you're an HR professional reading about what happened in this interview, you already know that you need to shut this down immediately. We're probably going to keep that. But you know that they are asking questions that are just going to get you and the company sued, and it's going to get your HR practices look like you're not supervising this process properly. And let's be real about this. This person would probably have a pretty decently strong claim if she ends up not getting the job. Why? Because straight from the interview notes that this person had some discriminatory motive against this person. Maybe they didn't mean to be discriminatory, but they're doing it nevertheless. They are asking a question based on protected classifications and making sure that it has some sort of impact on this candidate's suitability for the job, ability to do the job, all that sort of stuff. Because the general premise is you wouldn't ask the question in an interview if it didn't actually matter. And so the easy ones right there is that you've got some discrimination on familial status if it's protected in this jurisdiction, maybe family planning, maybe if this person is indeed pregnant or is planning on getting pregnant. But the one that folks often add on to these is just sex discrimination, because they're asking specifically about the mommy track. They're not asking about the parent track. They're asking about mommy track because a lot of folks have this understanding, for whatever reason, that childcare responsibilities fall on the mother. But we all know it takes two to tango, right? You end up needing typically a father to have a child as well. But you wouldn't ask these same questions of a male candidate saying, are you going to be on the daddy track? Nobody just asks that. And the last part of this that always gets me is that this is a law firm. Maybe I'm naive. I've always assumed that lawyers would be the types to be a little bit more conscientious about these types of things. And even if employment law isn't their bread and butter, most lawyers should know these types of things are not okay. Nevertheless, here we are, and I often find that they are some of the worst actors in these discrimination and retaliation type issues. So, law firm, boutique law firm in Boston, whoever you are, get it together. And if any of this sounds like an issue that you're dealing with and you need some help with it, there's a link below to schedule a consultation.